Channel 1. Another story that we are following up on is the EAC trade fair that has been ongoing in Juba, South Sudan, with over 500 SMEs from Kenya participating. Of course, our very own Brian Kimani has been following up on the proceedings at that exhibition and will be joining us within this particular program to give us the latest on what SMEs are doing to ensure they take advantage of the market in the region. The third story we are following up on is the engineers summit that is ongoing in Mombasa. That is the Institution of Engineers of Kenya. They are calling for engagement of local engineers to spur infrastructural development in the country. Regina Manyara is on that bit. She shall be joining us as well during this program to give us the latest of today's proceedings. Now we get back in studio where we want to talk about matters investments. And to have this conversation is Victor Marangu, who is the head of distribution at Standard Investment Bank. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you.
Karibu sana. Maybe you just give us an overview into what financial wellness is. Let's start there.
Thank you, Betty. Financial wellness is basically the ability to be able to meet your lifestyle needs, of course, which are monetary in nature. You're able to pay your bills, you're able to take your kids to school, you're able to, if you're retired, you're able to fund your lifestyle during retirement, you're able to pay for your medical bills. As people go to as far as being philanthropic and funding charitable organizations and such. So financial wellness is basically being able to live within your means and also being able to sustain your lifestyle. Yeah. Yeah.
And how does someone achieve that, especially when you're looking at the older people, senior people? How do you make sure that by the time you're reaching maybe retirement age, you're financially stable? So
okay, great. That's a good question. This requires a lot of discipline. Sadly, these are not things that we are taught in school. When we're in school, we are taught various topics like biology, for example, which is good because that's why we get our medical doctors and other practitioners in that line. But when you look at it critically, even when you become a doctor, you still need to understand matters, financial planning and wealth management. So for you to be able to live a comfortable retirement, you ought to start early. And starting early is relative. If you're 40 and you want to retire at 65, you still have those 25 years to be able to generate enough savings and invest. So the principles that apply here is about being able to budget, monitor your inflows, and track your spending. That is very important. And there are various theories that are being brought forward to assist people in managing, because people are dynamic in nature. The way people view money is totally different. But there are certain key guidelines that are normally given. Like, for example, there is the 4 magic numbers that are advanced by a guy called Ramit Sethi. It says about 50 to 60% you can put it on your costs, on your fixed costs. Then 5 to 10% you put into investments, 5 to 10% you put it into savings, and then 20 to 35% is what he calls guilty-free spending. So you realize that there is some residue unspent revenue every month, and this cumulatively, even if you look at a typical return of 12 to 16%, you can actually double your initial capital in a period of 4 to 5 years. And that is very, very critical. So it is very important for you to track your spending. Most of the people, when they get money, they behave differently. You read from the same script, I'm going to be very wise in spending my money, but at the end of the day, what happens is that people receive the money and they just jump onto any shiny object that is being flashed across the screens and everything else, but at the end of the day, you realize that you did not meet your particular objective. So it requires a lot of discipline to be able to make sure whatever comes your way as a form of a paycheck, part of it is annexed for future use. And that one requires a lot of discipline and also understanding that the way we are wired as humans, you're supposed to take care of yourself. And now the funny bit is that your future self is actually like sort of a stranger to you. That is why you don't feel like taking care of that stranger. You want to take care of yourself right now. So if you understand that, then you know that your future self actually will be totally dependent on you. So you take up that responsibility and know there's someone in future who awaits to be taken care of you, who is yourself. And that way now someone can develop a sense of, if I get my 100,000 and then I'll put 20,000 and then plan for these other 80,000 to do other things. That's where you can be able to achieve financial freedom into the future years.
According to the KDIC, the people who have 100,000 shillings or more in their bank account is less than 1% of our population. When you get to 500,000, it's even less. It's at 0 point something. So how do you balance between the needs, the current needs? You know, you have responsibilities. When you look at your paycheck, you probably have more responsibility than your paycheck can handle. So how do you balance the spend for now and later?
Just going back to the same numbers I've actually told you about the allocation. We talked about percentages. We did not even speak about absolute amounts. You talk about a percentage. If your income is 20,000, you just know I need to put 20% aside. Okay? 5 to 10% in savings, 5 to 10% in investments. And there are so many products out there with as little as 100 Kenyan shillings you can be able to invest. So people have this notion of, when I get money, I'm going to invest. You see, investment is a function of your savings. So first of all, you save money. When you save, it means you have a surplus. So you get your paycheck. You pay all your bills. If you pay all your bills and you remain with nothing, then it means you are living beyond your means. So you're supposed to cut out on expenditure and make sure that you live within that particular paycheck and then set aside that a particular amount. When you set it aside, it can accumulate to a certain level. Maybe it can be a minimum requirement for an investment. Then you select the right investment vehicle you want to, in terms of, for example, you can put it in a money market fund. If your investable becomes like 250,000, you can put in a fund like Mansa X offered by Standard Investment Bank. And that is how you start building wealth. Wealth is not something you find somewhere kept and then boom, you become rich. It is painstakingly built over time, sacrifices. You don't want to go out for that particular weekend because if you know you go out, you're going to spend 30K or 50K or you make mistakes. There is this joke that goes on, as you receive a message, uko wapi? It is a mistake that you make. You end up making very bad decisions, such as being asked, uko wapi? So you can avoid such peer influence and be able to say that I have to make a sacrifice to generate real wealth. And that's how, there is no shortcut to wealth. People will say, oh, that one was born in wealth. How many people have we seen who are born in wealth who ended up being poor? Because in their mindset, they did not have that blueprint for making money and protecting wealth and being able just to multiply and make more. That is, you utilize the opportunities that are available with your 100 shillings, with your 500, and that's how we're going to get to the top 1%. Not all of us, of course, because the income levels are different, but that does not mean happiness and living, being financially free means you have to have billions stashed somewhere and all that kind of. There are people who are living modest lives and they are very happy.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about financial wellness for the young people. A lot of young people, they see things on social media and want to live, you know, the lavish lifestyle, show that they're living large without considering what will happen in the future. What would you advise young people as they even start their savings journey?
Young people, I can say, just by being young, you're so lucky because you have one very critical resource called time. Time is one of the key assets that young people can utilize. For example, you can start early because if someone is, for example, at 50 years and a young person is at, for example, 20 years or 25, maybe started earning something at 25, and then this person invests all the way for 30 years, for example. They are saving something for 30 years. And this other person at 50, retiring at maybe 60, they only have a time frame of maybe 10 years. But this other person can afford to put even something very little, but because of the time factor, the compounding effect over the years, you can actually end up making a lot of money. But the problem is, you want to see someone who is older than you, the kind of lifestyle they are living, and then you see Instagram, especially the way they take nice photos on Instagram, then you're like, this is the life. People get into debt. There are so many mobile money applications that people can borrow, and at a very exorbitant rates, rate as high as 15, 20, 30% per month, which is unsustainable. I want to remind young people that the biggest toolkit you have is a factor called time. And then you need to develop the discipline to understand that when you look at your age, how old you are, what skill sets you have, and what is available to you at the moment, and develop the discipline to say, I will live within my means. And then by doing that, I will go heavy on investments, because everything in life is about sacrifice. If you want to achieve something, you have to get rid of something. Mm-hmm. And that includes not being excited easily with shows and events and showing up for parties and everything else. Don't try to impress everyone, and just stick within your script. Work on your financial wellness by following the 4 magical numbers that I mentioned. Make sure at least every month, no matter what happens, even if it's 20 shillings that you put aside, just put it aside. And that one, because of the time factor, you can actually accumulate massive amount of money into the future. And it doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter your education. People think people in finance are better fund managers in terms of personal finance managers. No, it's not true. Mm-hmm. There are people who just know, I need to get this, I put this one here, and then put it for the future. Just simple logic.
Right.
And that's how you can be able to build your wealth.
Thank you. Victor Marangu there from Standard Investment Bank, giving us nuggets on savings. And we'd like to ask you a question today. This is our viewpoint question. If my director could just run that for me kindly. We'd like to ask the viewer about their savings discipline. What are you saving for? What have you been saving, and what are you saving for? Yeah, we want to understand if you have actually been saving and for what. That is the viewpoint question there. Do you save, and if you do, for what? Do get in touch with us at KBC Channel 1. We are at Twitter, on Facebook, and across our social media platforms. Today is World Savings Day. The world is just thinking about why savings are important for individuals, for families, for everyone really in the world. And we are asking you if you save, and for what do you save? This conversation continues. Yes, right there. That is the viewpoint question again. Do you save, and for what? Engage with us on KBC Channel 1 and on Twitter. My personal Twitter handle is at Betty Kiptum, on Facebook as well, and on our YouTube channel. We shall be sampling some of your views on that particular question. Do you save, and for what? Remember, today is World Savings Day, and that is why our focus is on the money. Now we want to take you to Marsabit County, where irrigation projects are ongoing, and we'd like to talk to Abdiaziz Hashim, who is having, or rather who will have a discussion with Director Daniel Odero, who is the Director of Water Management, Harvesting and Storage of the State Department for Irrigation, to just get us up to speed on the state of irrigation in the country. Abdiaziz, good to see you. Do take it away.
Well, thank you so much, Betty Kiptum. Of course, we're coming to you live from Marsabit County. And of course, the focus here, it's all about some of the drought resilience measures that the government has been able to put in place. Yeah. You do know it is a collaboration between the national government and the county government as well. The dry season is just around the corner. You do know the issues of climate change as well, and drought in terms of what we have been experiencing in the country. Even the head of state in the last few months or so has been talking about the drought season that the country came out from, and then to the flooding situation, especially here in Marsabit County. It has been one among the counties that has been affected greatly, especially when it comes to climate change matters, when it comes to drought as well as flooding. Now, what are some of the drought resilience measures that have been put in place? We're being joined by our guest. That will be none other than the director who is running a program that will see some of these issues being addressed when it comes to the pastoralist communities as well as to the farmers. You do know that in Marsabit County, there are also farmers here. It is lush green green. I know the irony, you might say it might be lush green at the end of the day, but they're experiencing drought. That has been the situation, and we want to get a feel of what are some of the projects that the government is running so far in collaboration with the county government. Joining us will be none other than the Director of Water Management, Harvesting and Storage, State Department for Irrigation, that is Director Daniel Odero, who will be just briefing us on some of the key measures that have been put in by the government. Director, kindly, if you can join me, you can come closer. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining KBC Channel 1. Tell our viewers back at home, not just the people of Marsabit County, what are some of these drought resilience measures that have been put in place?
Thank you. My name is Daniel Odero once again. I work for the State Department for Irrigation, national government. This is a program that is done in collaboration with the county governments through the National Treasury, which is our financier in Kenya. The program is financed jointly by the government of Kenya and the Federal Republic Government of Germany through KfW. KfW is a development bank that is responsible for German financing cooperation. Now, this project began in 2018 when the financing agreement was done. Basically, it covers two counties, that is Marsabit and Turkana. The financing for is 8 million government, which is about 1 billion Kenya shillings based on the exchange rate then when the financing agreement was signed. So today we are here basically to launch the program officially, which will be done on Friday between the government of Marsabit and then the national government of Kenya will be presided over by the PS, CPA Fantas Kimodo, and His Excellency Honorable Mahmoud Mohamed Ali, who is the governor of Marsabit. We are doing drought mitigation, and this was discussed when on the sidelines of Berlin in 2013. Then it was agreed that the German government helps us to finance a program that will tackle drought mitigation. So two counties, as I said. So in Marsabit, we are talking of about 255,000 people benefit out of this program. It's an open program that is multi-sectoral in the sense that it's about drought mitigation, so we tackle it from different angles. One, the infrastructure will involve water infrastructure construction, and this includes boreholes, we have water pans, we have shallow wells, we have subsurface dams, mention them, even roof rainwater harvesting through roof catchment, and will be reticulated to communities. The other aspect is about irrigation, either it is rehabilitation or constructing new ones. And then we also have access to markets, where we shall do improvement of access roads so that the communities can be able to reach markets, both for livestock and food crops. And then we also do sanitation, which will be both for schools and hospitals that require improvement of sanitation. Other than this, we also have livestock improvement activities that involve both livestock production in terms of feedlots and then livestock health in terms of disease control.
And of course, you just talked about the main event that will be happening in Sololo. Just tell us what is exactly going to happen there and how is that program going to benefit the members of the community who live around that particular area?
Thank you so much. This was agreed following the intervention of the county government of His Excellency the Governor and the Principal Secretary, State Department for Irrigation. A mission was conducted in April 2024 by KfW. So during that, the two leaders expressed the wish for the government's vision to be included in this program. Feedlot was not part of it, but once that was discussed during that mission, they agreed that then we can set some money aside. The county government will contribute towards expanding that financing so that we have a major feedlot that will be taking about 500 acres of feedlot so that the beneficiaries in Obu Ward, which is in Sololo, can be able to benefit out of this program. So it is a program in production. So what we are doing, Marsabit does not have any permanent river. It's a county that do not have permanent rivers. So what we are having are dry riverbeds that when it rains, then we have a lot of flash floods flowing when it rains, and that flash flood runs and goes to waste. So in Sololo, we have a dry riverbed that runs all the way from the Ethiopian mountains, and it does flooding twice in a year, twice, and it has massive flow of water. So we discussed, and in that joint agreement, the two governments are going to construct water pans, which are going to be graduated, or sometimes a dam, the way the local community will want to refer to it, that will tap that water, and then we use it for feedlot production. But again, it will be available for livestock to drink, and even for households that are living within Obuad.
And of course, people might say, given that Marsabit County, at least it's much better far off, because people are saying, if you come to Marsabit, it's like going to central parts of the country. You see a lot of trees, you see grass, but at the end of the day, they still feel the impact of climate change. We've just witnessed the worst drought the country has ever experienced in the last 2 years when we got out of it. Then shortly afterwards, we have gotten into a flooding situation, and we saw that even Marsabit County was among the counties that was worst affected. So in terms of these drought resilience measures that have been put in place, are there challenges that you have witnessed so far, and how have you addressed them?
Marsabit, that is the wrong perception. Marsabit is only green around Saku, where we have Marsabit town because of the presence of Mount Marsabit. Yes. The moment you drive 10 kilometers from point, then you experience what we now call Marsabit County. So what we are witnessing here is not Marsabit County. This is just the county headquarters, but we go a few kilometers from here, then you experience the reality of Marsabit. Actually, I've said there is no permanent river. That means it is dry. So we about greenness. What you are seeing at the background, that is because of the presence of Mount Marsabit, and that is just a small proportion of the county. This is one of the largest county. Actually, it's Turkana and Marsabit, the largest counties in the Republic of Kenya. We are talking about from where we are to a place called Ileret is over 400 kilometers. And you are still in the same county. And we are at the central point of Marsabit. So you can imagine what we are talking about. So the county is dry. Even where we are going to is dry. And if we don't harness that water, then the population, the communities that are living there will still suffer the impact of drought. And that is why it was felt. And I think we are developing other programs alongside the State Department for ASALs to have major feedlots in these ASAL counties to be able to supply enough pasture for the animals. You know, the ASAL counties are about livestock production. So that is the impact that we want to reduce down of climate change, so that we supplement the pastures that they are having naturally with the feedlots that we are going to assist them produce. So that we also minimize conflicts. The conflicts are about resources. And the resources in ASAL areas are only two. Pasture for livestock, water for the same livestock. Watu wanapata kidogo ya kukunywa. But when it comes to livestock, because that is the mainstay of the economy of the pastoral communities, and we are alive to that fact.
And as we conclude, finally, given that we are out of time, we are talking about some of the issues that we have been able to witness, especially in this ASAL region. In terms of resources, it is finite, it is very small, and that's why we're seeing people at the end of the day clashing. So will this resolve some of those issues?
It's expected that for everything that we are doing, we have a vision, and our outcome that are expected from this program is we have enough pasture for the communities. That will translate into better livestock health and more livestock surviving, and that will then translate into money into the pockets. At the end of the day, what we are looking at is money in the pockets, and that is why we say this program is multi-sectoral. So we are looking at infrastructure for market access so that they can be able to off-take the livestock that they are going to improve in terms of livestock health and livestock production.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I wish we would have had a lot of time, but of course we'll be engaging even tomorrow, given that the event will be continuing. That is none other than the Director of Water Management, Harvesting and Storage, State Department of Irrigation Director Daniel Odero, just giving us a brief when it comes to the drought resilience measures that have been put in place by the State Department for Irrigation, which is an extension of the national government, but in collaboration with the county government. There is an important event set to happen tomorrow at Sololo, and of course that is what we'll be bringing you. The PS, the principal said the Principal of State Department of Irrigation, CPA, Ephantus Kimotho, will be present, and of course in the presence of none other than the Marsabit County Governor, to just bring you up to speed in some of the drought resilience measures that have been put in place. You've just heard even from the director that it is not only in Marsabit, it is also being extended to Turkana, and further they have even confirmed that it will extend to the other ASAL regions. You do know that drought affects only arid and semi-arid areas within the confines of this particular country, and of course in terms of climate change as well and an expansion of irrigation. You do know that the government is clearly talking about that particular issue. For now, we want to hand you over back to studio, and of course we'll brief you in our subsequent bulletins.
Thank you very much, Abdiaziz Hashim, there coming to us from Marsabit on matters irrigation, and of course we shall be keeping tabs on those particular irrigation projects. From matters irrigation to matters trade now, we'd like to take you to Juba in South Sudan. You can see O'Brien Kimani there standing by. Over 500 SMEs from Kenya have been exhibiting at that particular trade fair. O'Brien, please bring us up to speed with the latest from the EAC trade fair.
Well, many thanks, Hashim, in Samburu County, and of course, Betty Kiptum in Broadcasting House, our national headquarters. And we are here in Juba. This is just a tip of the iceberg of what the national broadcaster can do. Projecting various pictures and, of course, stories from different parts of the world. This is what we call interconnectivity. You can only get it right here on KBC. And of course, we are here in Juba. We are attending the 24th edition of the East African Community annual SMEs Day, which is happening here in the city of Juba. This 10-day event is supposed to bring together all the 8 countries to showcase the prowess of their SMEs and, of course, their small businesses, and also to highlight some of the challenges that they are facing in their quest to make or to break through the business barriers. We have had a lot, from Kenyans who are residing here, raising some of the challenges that they are facing here, and of course, how they need to be addressed. We are at the Freedom Hall. This is the biggest meeting venue here in the city of Juba, and there are more than 3,000 SMEs from all the 8 countries showcasing their products and, of course, their services. In Kenya, we have the biggest delegation of more than 500 SMEs, and as you can see just behind me here, stretching like 250 or about 150 meters from where I'm standing, all that going down that stretch, you are just meeting Kenyan SMEs, and of course featuring various products. I just want to now to talk to some of them who are exhibiting, and of course they are also going to give us the experience here. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, and I can see you look Kenyans by all means.
Oh yes.
And it's nice to meet you here in Juba. Kindly tell us your name and what you are doing here.
My name is Jane Monyao from Machakos County. I've come here as an exhibitor. We're having the 24th Juakali Nguvu Kazi. That is why I'm here. I want to thank my governor, Madam Wavinya Ndeti, because of bringing me here.
What do you do? You're in what business?
I'm an entrepreneur. I do kiondos, I do leather products, and dress. And the hat I'm wearing is what I do here. Yes.
What's the name of this hat?
This hat is called God Papa from Kenya.
God Papa from Kenya. How has this been business for you since you came here?
The business has been very slow, as I can say, but I think since we have 5 days to go, the business will pick.
What is your message to the SMEs back in Kenya?
My message to the SMEs in Kenya is to tell them there are very many opportunities here in southern Sudan, because the young people who are here, they are very many. So Gen Zs, instead of fighting for your space in Kenya, come and fight here for your space for business. There's a lot of business here.
There are so many opportunities.
Oh, yes.
And they are waiting for you to pick them.
They are going to pick
Thank you very much. We wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
We'll keep on interacting.
Thank you.
Very good. That is one of the SMEs, joining us here at the Juba Freedom Hall, where they are having exhibition. Kindly tell us what's your name, where you're from, and what you're doing.
Thank you. I'm Elizabeth Kimandi from Hikombe. I was sponsored by Machakos County to come and sell my goods here. As you can see, I'm Gen Z. I came here thinking that I would get something, but now I'm proud of you, Wavinya Ndeti. And I promise to support you more and more.
Tell me this. I mean, you know, making it in the world of business is not it's not easy. Has it been easy for you? I mean, getting to where you are now.
Yes, it is not easy, but you have to think and struggle. South Sudan.
In South Sudan.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And have a pleasant stay here in Juba.
Thank you.
Very good. There's another lady who is joining us with a beautiful. This is a kyondo? No, this is a.
This is a shopping cap, a small one. First of all, my name is General Square. I'm from Kakamega County, and I'm proud to be from Kakamega and being a Kenyan at the same town. And I'm happy to be here in Juba because the opportunity.
Well, that is O'Brien Kimani. They are engaging MSMEs who are exhibiting at the EAC Trade Fair in Juba, which has been going on all week. And of course, he has been bringing us reports on how policies are set to be changed or reviewed to ensure that more SMEs from the country are taking advantage of business opportunities available in the EAC region. And of course, we shall be joining up with him later on to give us just more of what happens today at that particular EAC Trade Fair. We now come back to studio where we are talking about matters money. Remember, I had asked you, what are you saving, and if so, for what? I have a number of views here from some of you who are watching. Gilbert T. Rock from Baringo, you're watching. Thank you for watching. You're saying that we save to ensure a better tomorrow, to have a sound financial stability. Irene Kulei, who is also watching, this comment came in from Facebook. She says that I have not managed to save because of meager earnings. And of course, we shall be throwing a question to our expert here in studio, who is Victor Marangu, the head of distribution at Standard Investment Bank. Continue sending your views at KBC Channel 1 on Twitter. My personal Twitter handle is at Betty Kiptum. Tell us, do you save, and for what? Thank you very much, Victor, for staying with us.
Thank you.
Could you just address Irene there, who says that she has not managed to save because of meager earnings? What is a person like that to do?
Yeah, one of the key ways to raise money to invest is first of all looking at your skill level. You could have studied a particular course in college, and then you found a job, and maybe, of course, whatever you earn there is predetermined, and then for you to actually generate real wealth, you ought to offer something that is a bit unique.
Just give me 1 second. Let's just fix your sound there. We'll get back to you on that. Remember that what we are discussing today is about money, and the question is, if you save, and what do you save for? You could be saving for a dream. The holidays are coming up. Have you been saving for your holiday? Some people save to travel, whether it's up country or on a trip with family. Some people are saving for cars, others for investments such as real estate, farms, or they are just saving because people save. And we shall be asking Victor how important it is to have a goal when you are saving. Remember, today is World Savings Day, and the focus is on the importance of saving in just getting people out of poverty and ensuring economic development. Remember that the savings culture in Kenya is a bit low, and we'd like to just make sure that that is improved. I think we have fixed that. Thank you, Victor, for staying with us. You are telling us about what someone who has meager earnings is to do to ensure that they are starting their financial wellness journey.
Yeah, it is important to look at your income streams. Do you have one income stream, or you have multiple income streams? And today the world has really evolved that you can take advantage of so many short courses that have come that are aimed at one particular skill. For example, digital marketing, graphics design. Just to give a few examples, you can be an influencer. You are so good at something, you've done research, and people are coming to you to get more information about that, and you can actually make money out of that. So if you find yourself in a situation whereby you're not making enough, then it's important to ask yourself, what am I offering to the world? What you offer to the world is what determines what you get paid back for what you've done. So you have to look at your skill set. Of course, it's a function of your ability to learn and grasp and develop new skills that are in demand. And that way, people will pay you more for what you're offering. So don't get stuck in one situation and say, I'm earning meager earnings. And meager earnings can be relative. It all depends. Someone earning 50,000 will say that's meager earnings. Someone else earning 350 could say meager earnings. It will depend on their lifestyle, the stage of life they are in. And I don't want her to stay stuck in a situation whereby and feel sorry for herself by saying I'm just stuck and in meager earnings. So one of the key ways out of that is to scale up and also seek other opportunities for employment that would appreciate their skill more.
Mm-hmm. Before we talk about the investment options, we are aware that the pay slip of very many Kenyans has been shrinking over the past 2 years or so. Mm. How do you work around a shrinking pay slip, so to say, or when your income, your main source of income is shrinking, what options do you have there?
So first of all, it can be change of career. We've seen so many people opt into entrepreneurship. And of course, that shift is facilitated by learning a new skill, and you're able to take up a new role. And we have seen people venture into agribusiness, for example, poultry rearing, and you continue doing your job, but you still have that other, we call them side hustles, that don't interfere with your work ethic, and there is no conflict of interest as such. So I've seen people back home from where I come, from Meru County, people venturing into agribusiness. They are rearing poultry, they are cattle rearing, and they're able to make money besides what they do, their formal employment. So they have self-employed themselves and they're able to generate income. So let us look just beyond the pay slip and see, are we able to negotiate, now that there's that shrinkage, are we able to negotiate the basic pay? If you negotiate the basic pay, then you can be able to squeeze in for that consideration of the various deductions that are happening. Mm-hmm. But the surest way out of it is looking for alternatives and maybe a change of a career or gaining a new skill and venturing into a new landscape altogether.
Right.
Yeah. Mm.
Now, let's talk about investment options. Yeah. Just take us through the investment options that are available, mm-hmm. especially for people who are just starting. Okay, mm-hmm. Okay. So there are multiple various investment options out there, mm-hmm. And especially if you're starting out, the primary objective is to have your goal. What are you saving or investing for? That acts like your GPS, is a guiding mechanism for where you want to get. So you ought to have a plan. You have to ask yourself, where am I now? Where do I want to be? And then the other question will be, how do I get there? And now we answer that question of, how do I get there? You first of all start by opening a bank account. You have to have a bank account whereby whatever you receive, you're able now to allocate a portion of that every other month in savings. Then once you have accumulated enough savings, now you can be able to invest. There are various investment options. You can call it, you can have a fixed deposit in a commercial bank. That's a form of an investment because you're given an interest rate of a 3 month, 6 month, 9 month or 12-month period. And of course, the interest rates you're given are dependent on the amount you're putting and how long you're investing. Right now, we are generally, the interest rates, the CBR has been lowered, so we anticipate fixed deposit will attract very low interest rates. You can then put your money in a money market fund. A money market fund invests actually in short-term debt instruments, for like treasury bills and of course fixed deposits. But this one is done now by a fund manager. A fund manager now manages that portfolio, and they're able to give you a return on investment with as little as 1,000, I think 100 worth of 100 shillings worth of investment. You're able to enter into a money market fund. And like I said, for someone who is starting, mostly youthful people, you can take advantage of time and not look at how much you're putting and look at how long you're putting it. You can actually leverage how long you're putting it to be able to leverage the compounding effect over time. If you've built your wealth to some extent, you can now start looking at shares.
You can start looking at buying government bonds. You can start looking at real estate. You may not be able to venture into real estate directly, but you can buy what we call REITs, real estate investment trusts. You can buy a portion of it and be able to invest in real estate indirectly. The other thing, you can be able to form a group. Maybe you want to venture, for example, invest in a fund like Mansa X Fund, whose minimum requirement is 250. I've seen so many young people come together and they're able to put up a chama, and then they come to us as a chama, they're able to invest. So when the returns are realized, they may opt to roll over the returns, or they may opt to do a partial withdrawal, and then of course the returns are now divided amongst based on how much each and everyone contributed. So there's that collective, the Harambee spirit of the Kenyan spirit. You can be able to use that, and we've seen a lot of chama do so well in that. And then you continue building that over time. Remember, your GPS is what am I investing or saving for? Once you have that figured, and most of the people set goals, they have like 20 goals that they want to achieve. That does not work. I encourage people to focus on at least, at most 3 per any given time. And you realize that you want them to achieve the bigger goal, maybe accumulate wealth and maybe have a net worth of like 100 million. You know you are in 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, but you know you're headed to. So cumulatively, every quarter you're able to review where you are, and it gives you too much satisfaction when you see that you've made a certain milestones every quarter. That's why you need a financial advisor to keep guiding you.
Right. Thank you for that, Victor. I'm informed that we need to go to Mombasa, where the Institution of Engineers of Kenya conference has been going on this week, which we are in, and Regina Manyara has been following up on that. Regina Manyara, what do you have for us from the Engineers Convention?
Thank you very much, Betty Kiptum. Rightfully said, it is day 3, and today's agenda, especially in the morning session, our stakeholders here are having a conversation on how focusing on infrastructure is a catalyst to industrialization, and the overall result is job creation, as well as supporting local engineers across board. To take us through this conversation, we're going to be joined by the DG, Kura, that is Engineer Silas Kinoti, to just bring us up to speed. One of the models that was adopted by the government to improve on infrastructure is the road annuity program, model in 2014. Has it been effective? What were the lessons learned, and what is the way forward? Thank you very much, Engineer, for your time. Just come closer here. You just made that presentation on the road annuity program. Just bring us up to speed. Its effectiveness in terms of infrastructure, and what you think needs to be done to make it more, to meet its objective.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. As I said, a road annuity program we started implementing from 2014. What we wanted to do is tap in private sector financing for us to improve the network we have in our roads. But it took a bit of time, because from my presentation, we see that from 2014, it is only around February of 2022 that we are able to start actual construction of the road on the ground, taking us more than 8 years just to negotiate for the financing. In terms of effectiveness, we have the roads. They have already been constructed, they are being used, and people are really enjoying, and they are now no introducing economic activities in all those areas. But in terms of the value for money, in terms of weighting, we need to understand the model more. We need to all the stakeholders to come on board, the financiers, the government, so that they can understand the model more and reduce the number of risks, so that the cost of financing can also reduce. Thank you.
Now, let's give us a clarity. Where do we stand then when it comes to the road annuity fund? Is it on? Is it stalled? What is going on there?
The road annuity fund, the government has gone slow on the road annuity fund, because the perception that it's an expensive way of constructing roads. But with more capacity building of our sector and the financing sector, the treasury, we are able, I'm sure in future we will be able to come up with a modality of financing where you'll get value for money. So it's on hold at the moment because that perception is expensive. But if you look at the cost of money in the long run, it may not be that expensive. But we need to really put it for us to understand it more and bring more stakeholders on board, brand the financing models in terms of government financing, private sector financing, where do we come on board so that you can reduce the time we need to achieve that project and also reduce the cost of the financing.
Now, since you've mentioned about blended financing, this is also something, a recommendation that has come from the floor of the House, maybe to look at more public-private partnerships, not the direction of, the spirit of the annuity program, but now to just move like what we're having with the affordable housing. Do you think this is something that we can actually consider for the roads that Kura takes care of?
Yeah, I think what I mean by blended financing, you can look at cheaper ways of financing. In Kenya, we have like the pension schemes, which are cheaper ways of financing. We have NSF, we have all that. We can look at, instead of going to commercial lending, you can look at institutions which have their money which you can leverage on to reduce that cost of financing. It is a model which has worked everywhere, it has worked anywhere, in other areas. The challenge you're having is that we are leveraging on a very high cost of finance. That is the commercial banks. We need to see alternative ways of bringing in private sector money on board. As
we come to a close of this particular brief, today's agenda is around focusing on infrastructure to catalyze industrialization. Your take on this and how we can effectively achieve this from where you sit?
Industries, when you put up industries, they have to be accessed. Roads are an enabler towards industrialization, whether you are doing in agricultural industrialization, whether you are doing special economic zones. We need infrastructure, roads to access those industries so that people can be able to know the cost of doing business can be reduced. I can give an example of the Kenya Leather Park, which is being constructed at Kenania in Machakos. The road, we are working on the road. People are going there and saying, please, we want to invest in this park, but the road is not good. So we as Kura, with the support of the government, we are trying as much as possible to make the road good so that the industries can start operating at the Kenani Leather Park. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you've heard it, Betty, this is a call to action, so to speak, from stakeholders, and one of them being Kura, saying for Kenya to industrialize and consequently also create jobs, requisite infrastructure this morning as the IEK, the 31st IEK International Convention gets underway. Now back to you, Betty.
Thank you very much, Regina Manyara there, coming to us from the IEK convention in Mombasa. And of course, you shall be filling us in with the proceedings of that particular convention today. We now get back to studio and continue talking about matters savings and investments with Victor Marangu, who is the head of distribution at Standard Investment Bank. Victor, before we joined Regina, you were talking about the investment options that are available for Kenyans. Yeah. And when you have a product called Mansa X, tell us about that and how different it is from the other money market funds. Yeah, because I think money market funds have been on a rise. Their popularity has been on a rise in the past year or so. Yeah.
I agree with you, Betty. Mansa X fund was created as a way to de-risk the Kenyan investors' portfolio from geographical concentration. If you look at most of the portfolios are held here locally, and if you look at the historical returns, they have been barely beating inflation. Inflation takes away part of your wealth by reducing the purchasing power. For example, if you invest, for example, in a typical money market fund and you get an average return of 9%, a year or so, inflation was about 9.2%. That means the entire return was eroded by inflation. So as an investment bank, our team, being very innovative, looked at beyond the Kenyan markets, we have more developed financial centers, more opportunities that lie in the global markets. So Mansa X Fund was created as a multi-asset strategy fund to be able now to diversify not only out of Kenya, but across various asset classes. So Mansa X, you can call it a basket of investments that are spread across the world. So when you invest in Mansa X, actually you invested in S&P 500, for example. S&P 500 is a stock index that tracks the top 500 companies in the US. So you can imagine we are talking about exposure to a total market capitalization of 100 trillion US dollars. That's a big market. So Mansa X invest in equities, what we call shares of stocks, stock indices, invest in FX, what we call foreign exchange or forex, that people know it that way. We trade currency pairs. We also invest in commodities like gold, natural gas, and other agricultural products that are traded in the various commodities market. And also takes advantage of derivatives. Derivatives are actually contracts that derive their value from the underlying assets. For example, you can take equity derivatives, you can take commodity derivatives, for example, and you're able now, it gives you an opportunity to be able to venture into global without necessarily having to raise a huge capital requirements. And also debt market, for the bond market, there's the US treasuries, the German bonds, and all that kind of stuff. So that exposure across various geographies brings the diversity that is required to be able to generate a return without necessarily taking a higher commensurate risk. Because the questions we get mostly is that, how come you're giving us such a high return? What kind of risk would you have taken for you to be able to generate such a return? And the secret and the answer is in diversification. When you diversify, you're able to pick an asset that earns overall, as an overall positive effect on your entire portfolio. And we don't just pick any asset classes. Our team of financial engineers and research analysts are able to crawl the entire market and look for opportunities that present themselves and take advantage of that. So the portfolio for Mansa X is very, very dynamic. Whatever we were holding last quarter is not what we are holding this quarter. And whatever we anticipate maybe to hold in the other quarter, it all depends on the economic factors and the market dynamics. That is what advises the portfolio allocation for Mansa X.
Right.
Yeah.
When you talk about the diverse asset, investment that you do, of course, it means that you have very varied returns across these assets. So
exactly.
I would like to know how you reach the return that you offer to the Mansa X clients. But before you tell us that, we need to pay our bills here. We are taking a quick commercial break. When we come back, more conversations on matters money, investments, savings. Stay with us.
Are you a holder of unclaimed financial assets? All holders are notified to report and surrender unclaimed financial assets to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority, UFAA, on or before November 1st, 2024. UFAA. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
Sile. Don't just speak because mdomo imenyamaza na unataka ioge. Ni nani uchaiona amekufa sababu ya kuwa na pesa mingi?
You are going on a transfer.
Hey, Farah, let me tell you something. I will teach your sons in this school before I ever go for any transfer.
Guy Kinanzi, you are going to be a mambuzu.
As for you, Farah, I will find a way of dealing with you.
Julia. Yani, getting married is the only good news that you know.
Nebosire, it is good being happy for others.
And when will others be happy for you?
So, Malimo, do you agree that money is the root of all evil?
Money is the foundation of all the finer things you need in life. Hiyo ingine yote ni propaganda.
Samantha hapo na bwana yake huwa wanafanya mambo ingine ya kushangaza.
Mambo gani? Hebu eleza koti.
Nyamaza niendelee.
Endelea, usitupotezee wakati.
Unajua nibadilisha mtoto au unataka kuniaccuse kuna shida niko nayo?
Pole tu.
Mimi alisema alikuja kwa hospitali yako akamwambia wewe mimi amgetaka kijana, lakini sababu mimi alikuwa amefanyiwa scan akabata mimi atabata msijana na ningetaka kijana, wewe akanimwambia hakuna problem, wewe ataorganize. Wacha kuruka mimi. Jen,
mimi si nakuruka na mna
wewe ni wacha kuruka mimi.
Wacha uongo.
Umesema ni kitu inaendeleanga katika hiyo hospitali.
Si ndio na wewe si ndio unafanyanga?
Mimi.
Si ndio? Nani mwingine anafanyanga? Sasa mama, hawa watafungwa.
Hiyo si kazi yako.
Oh, it's not your job.
Thank you very much for keeping it KBC Channel 1. You are watching BizCheck. My name is Betty Kiptum and Lensa Odingo is my colleague on the sign language interpretation. Now, remember today we are following up on a number of stories. We'd like to just run you through that. Remember that Gachagwa's impeachment case, the impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's impeachment case is, there is a ruling that is happening this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. at the Milimani Law Courts. The three-judge bench is set to give a ruling on the conservatory orders. That will be happening at the Milimani Law Courts this afternoon at 2:30 p.m. and we shall be live. KBC will be live from Milimani Law Courts to bring you those proceedings. Another story we are following up on is the EAC trade fair that is ongoing in Juba. Remember that we just had our very own O'Brien Kimani, who is on the ground there following up on the proceedings of the trade fair. Over 500 Kenyan micro, small and medium enterprises are participating at that particular trade fair. Another event that is ongoing is the Institution of Engineers of Kenya, IEK convention that is going on in Mombasa, and we were speaking a little bit earlier to Regina Manyara, who is on the ground also, just bringing us up to speed on the need to engage local engineers to ensure that they are participating in infrastructure projects for development in the country. And now we remember that today is World Savings Day, and we are talking about matters savings, money, investments. How are you preparing for your future, for your tomorrow? Saving now for tomorrow. And we are asking you, are you saving? And if so, what for are you saving? Do you save, and what for do you save? Remember, you can get in touch with us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1 and also on my Twitter handle at Betty Kiptum. Do tell us if you are saving and what you are saving for. I saw your comment, Frida Katama, watching from Mombasa. You said that you are saving. Of course, you are saving for your children. That is very interesting. And of course, children are one of the things that are some of the people that actually just inform a lot of savings decisions by many Kenyans. And remember, you can get in touch with us at Twitter, KBC Channel 1. Betty Kiptum is my personal Twitter handle. Tell us if you save and what are your goals for saving. We continue with our conversation here in studio, and we are speaking with Victor Marangu, who is the head of distribution at Standard Investment Bank. Victor, you were telling us about Mansa X, the special fund that is ensuring that people are, investments are protected from the local happenings, so to say, that affect investment. And I was asking you, how do you determine the return if you are exposing people's money or investment in all these asset classes?
Okay, good question, Betty. The return on Mansa X fund is actually a function of the returns generated by each and every asset. And each and every asset within the portfolio is selected based on its ability to contribute positively to the overall return of the fund. For example, in the tech stocks, NVIDIA year to date has generated a return of 185%. Okay, gold, which is another asset class that we allocate, has returned about 34% return. So that one is a function of our research analysts who are able to look at do technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and come up with decisions on when to invest and what to invest in, when to buy and when to sell, when to buy and when to sell. So that one guides the overall strategy of the fund. So you realize that you might have put an allocation in a particular asset class that did not do so well, but because you have a huge outlay of various asset classes, some have performed very well now too, to cover the downside of maybe one particular asset class. You can imagine what would have happened if you invested in only one asset class and it goes down. Then that gives you leaves you too exposed. So that dynamic asset allocation is what makes Mansa X very proficient in terms of generating such returns. And those various asset classes, for example, if you invest in debt, you generate interest. If you invest in commodities, for example, you can have you can look at the capital gains. For example, you bought gold at $1,700 USD per ounce, and then it goes all the way to, like, today's about 2,700 USD per ounce. That's a proper capital appreciation. If you invested in stocks, you can get a capital gain and you can also generate dividends. So all these returns are actually now aggregated, and then they are portioned to the various investors based on where they entered and how much they have invested for that particular period. And this is done on a quarterly basis.
Right. So as an individual, how do you go about building a portfolio that is strong enough, that is resilient enough to avoid the impact of these risks? And also, if you could just tell us any potential risks that are happening to investments in the short term. We have the US election coming up, geopolitical tensions ongoing across the world, in the Middle East. Please tell us about that as well.
So as an individual investor, a typical Kenyan investor will put money in real estate, they'll put money in fixed deposit in commercial banks, they'll put money in a money market fund, they'll put money in a SACCO, for example, they'll put money in a chama, for example. What we recommend is that you look at your liquidity requirements. You can't say now, I want to build a house so that I can be able to pay school fees with it at a particular... If first of all, the projected rental yields are not able to reach your objective of paying the school fees. You know very well you want to hold assets that you can easily liquidate, but can still be able to generate value over time. So an individual investor needs to work with a financial advisor to be able to guide them on, first of all, to have a financial plan. When you develop a financial plan, you know what you are allocating to what and to what end. When that one is done, then now you're able to say, I'll put this in a money market fund, I'll invest indirectly in real estate for long-term investments. For short-term investments, I'll put in money market fund, which I can call my money within 2 to 3 days and sort my emergencies. So now where we come in as Mansa X, now we're able now to take that Kenyan investor and take a portion of their portfolio into global markets. We give it a global markets exposure. And the fund has been able to generate returns of up to 17.72% net over the last 5 years. That's a net rolling average over the last 5 years. This year alone, the first 9 months, the fund is about 15.76%. We still have those 3 months to go and then be able to determine the overall return at the end of the year. So we encourage individual investors to engage financial advisors and have a conversation around, for example, a typical Mansa X investor will put even up to 40% of their portfolio and give it a global markets exposure. Remember, you're not carrying all your eggs in one basket when you invest in Mansa X, because it is a really, really diversified portfolio. So that diversification, now to touch on what you mentioned about the global markets events and all that kind of stuff. The US election, of course, markets react to US elections big time. And our team is very well positioned to understand the dynamics. For example, if Trump wins, what happens? If Kamala wins, then what happens? And our team is able to anticipate anything that happens and be able to dynamically adjust the portfolio strategy to be able to suit that particular narrative. We've seen the geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, Iran-Israel conflict. Essentially, people expected the oil prices to be jumpy and all that kind of stuff, but we've not seen much of that because of the sanctions in that side. So the traditional oil producers, the oil market has not been affected as such like when we saw during the Russia-Ukraine incursion, that was massive. And our team was able to take advantage of the supply chain constraints that happened. We saw US wheat go up, and our team was able to take a position in US wheat and make money out of that. Natural gas, of course, went up again, and our team was able to take advantage of that. So when you invest in Mansa X, no matter what you hear out there, just know our portfolio management team has a play to take advantage of that particular happening.
Mm-hmm. You also trade in the forex market, right?
Yes.
What happens when, say, some currencies crash or something like that? How is it possible to lose money? I mean, to lose, money in that investment?
Yeah, it's possible to lose money if a current goes the other way.
So how do you prevent
for a current
that?
to crash,
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
You don't prevent.
Okay.
You don't prevent anything happening in the global markets. It's unpredictable.
Yes.
Now, what you do for a currency to crash, it doesn't happen overnight. There are telltale signs, and that is where our research analysts come in. They're able to see particular movement. Maybe something has happened in this particular country. Maybe their fiscal policy or their monetary policy has been implemented in it. It has affected the currency in a certain manner. For example, we saw the Kenya shilling really strengthening against the dollar from 163. Now it's about 129. It has stayed steady there for some time. So most of the people join Forex and they open Forex accounts. They want to start trading. They look at Euro USD, which is a very vibrant and a very aggressive currency pair. It accounts for over 30% of the 7.7 trillion daily turnover. So you can be lucky. But now without a strategy, you end up crashing. The reason why people lose money for it, because they don't have a strategy and they want to time the market. You cannot time the market. We say you do time in the market. So our team is able to do that analysis, and they're able to determine what currency pairs are we taking, which way. Are we Euro, USD, Euro, and they're able to know that if the Euro is strengthening against the dollar, then, okay, they're able to take those positions. And we don't trade just one currency pair. There are various currency pairs. You can have over 100 currency pairs. There are the major currency pairs, the minor currency pairs, and of course the emerging market currencies that you can be able to trade. I remember this one time South Africa rand did very well against the US dollar, and we took that play and we had a good return on that particular currency pair. So Forex actually forms a very critical part of an investment portfolio, because that is the heart of the capital markets actually. Right. Yeah.
Okay, so as we come to a close of the conversation, Victor, I'd like you to tell us, actually just talk to the viewer, in terms of preparing themselves as an investor, what to look out for in 2 short minutes, please.
Okay, so as an investor, what you need to look out for, you need to look out for yourself first, in the sense that you want to live a dignified life, and to live a dignified life, you work so hard, and you're able to set aside something at the end of the month. I will still stick with the narrative of residual income. Your primary objective, if you are earning meager earnings like we had earlier, your primary objective should be, can I get to a point where I'm able to set something aside? Once you set that aside, then you're able to invest it. And now investments come in all manner of ways. You are supposed to look at what is workable for you at that particular moment. Am I able to access my funds when I need them? Okay. Am I able to get information about my investment when I ask for it? Can I reach someone who is very well informed about that particular investment opportunity? Most of the people, they just read some news somewhere without even scrutinizing the source of information, because someone could be driving a narrative to excite people to take that particular direction. That is why it is very important to work with professional fund managers. When you work with a fund manager, remember there is that aspect of regulation. There is a regulatory oversight, professional fund management, exposure to asset classes which you would otherwise not have accessed with your minimum, because of the minimum capital requirement. For example, when you join a fund like Mansa X Fund, you're able to participate in the global markets. For example, invest in NVIDIA, invest in Apple. People hold phones, but you ask yourself, how much are you making from that phone you're holding? When you use Uber, do you have exposure to Uber in form of an investment? Netflix, people watch Netflix, but when you're sitting and relaxing, watching Netflix and paying that subscription, when you pay that subscription, do you feel this will contribute to your return? And that is what Masa X gives you the power to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Victor Marangu, the head of distribution Standard Investment Bank there, talking to us about investments on this World Savings Day. Where do you put your money and how do you ensure that your money is safe and working for you? In a little bit, we shall be having a conversation on the cooperatives movement in Kenya, catalyzing savings with David Mategwa, who is the chairperson at Kenya Police Deposit Taking Sacco. We shall continue with the conversation on matter savings. Remember, today is all about your money. How are you saving your money? How are you investing? This is BizCheck. We take a quick break. When we come back, more on money.
Nadhani umefika muda wa kurudi kwa wazazi wangu na mwanangu Maya. Hapa haya ni maji ya shingo na nimeshindwa kabisa kuyaogelea.
Mimi naweza chapwa na mwanamke mimi huyo basi.
Hata wewe mtu mzima haujui kuchunga mzigo wako. Shauri yako.
Sile. Don't just speak because mdomo imenyamaza na unataka ioge. Ni nani utaiona amekufa sababu ya kuwa na pesa mingi?
You are going on a transfer.
Hey, Farah, let me tell you something. I will take your sons in this school before I ever go for any transfer.
Gai kinanzi, yangu ndumbia maambuzu.
As for you, Farah, I will find a way of dealing with you. Julia. Yani, getting married is the only good news that you know.
Nebosire, it is called being happy for others.
And when will others be happy for you?
So, Malimo, do you agree that money is the root of all evil?
Money is the foundation of all the finer things you need in life. Hiyo ingine yote ni propaganda.
Madam hapo na bwana yake huwa wanafanya mambo ingine ya kushangaza.
Mambo gani? Hebu eleza koti.
Nyamaza niendelee.
Endelea, usitupoteze wakati.
Unajua nibadilisha mtoto au unataka kuniaccuse kuna shida niko nayo?
Pole tu.
Mimi alisema alikuja kwa hospitali yako akamwambia wewe mimi amgetaka kijana, lakini sababu mimi alikuwa amefanyiwa scan akabata mimi atabata msijana na ningetaka kijana, wewe akanimwambia hakuna problem, wewe ataorganize. Wacha kuruka mimi. Jen,
mimi si nakuruka na mwana.
Jen, wacha kuruka mimi.
Wacha uongo.
Umesema ni kitu inaendelea katika hiyo hospitali.
Si ndio na wewe si ndio unafanyanga?
Mimi.
Si ndio? Nani mwingine anafanyanga? Sasa mama, hawa watafungwa.
Hiyo si kazi yako.
Oh, it's not your job.
Basi yule ambaye atautumia ulimi wake kwa mambo ya kheri, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala atampa manufaa katika dunia na kesho akhira.
Mwenye kusoma Ayatul Kursi kila baada ya swala ambapo kwamba ni ya faradhi, hakuna kinachomzuia yeye kuingia janna isipokuwa kifo.
Thank you for watching KBC Channel 1. This is BizCheck. My name is Betty Kiptum, and Lensa Odingo is my colleague on the sign language interpretation. Over the next 30 to 40 minutes or so, we shall be talking about matters savings in terms of the cooperatives movement. And to have this conversation is David Mategwa, who is the chairperson at Kenya Police Deposit Taking Circle. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you, Betty.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Today is World Savings Day.
Yes.
And we know that the savings culture of Kenyans is still wanting.
Yes, true.
Please do comment on that.
Betty, I think you have just hit it. If we look at the culture of saving the country, actually is so poor. That's why in the cooperative movement, we look at the cooperative movement as the best business model that makes people start saving and saving at the early age. So if you look at how people are handling money in this country, that we are poor in savings, that we look at a lot of wastage. Sometimes we look at the money and we ask ourselves, I'm not getting too much money so that I can save. But the little you have, if you save it, then over time, you'll realize that you have saved some money and build a capital so that it can enable you to start investing. Mm-hmm. Yes. So if you look at even the people, like in the cooperative movement, people have joined cooperatives, people have joined circles, vis-a-vis with the number of the population. The number is still low. I think we should be doing like 12% or less. Yes, so it is wanting, as I agree with you.
Right, yeah. So that means a lot more needs to be done.
Sensitization has to be done, a lot, yes.
Now, when you talk about cooperative movements, let's look at the management of cooperative movements. We know that there are very many cooperative movements in Kenya.
Yes.
Kenyans are putting their money in there. Regulation is ongoing, and of course there are policy reviews going on. So tell us about how safe Kenyans' money is in circles.
Yes, I can tell you in terms of governance, a lot has been done to improve governance in circles. We have regulations since we started regulations in 2010, when we started having the authority, the SASRA, Circle Regulatory Authority. We have seen a lot of improvement in terms of governance, in terms of safety of the money people have. And we have had a lot of changes in regulations, tightening the regulations. And also, I think a lot need to be done to make sure that when people hear circle, because they lump circles together, when they see a circle that has, I had an experience with this, somebody who said, has an experience with the circles. He joined a circle, went down, joined another one, had issues. So what I'm looking at is that the government has to enhance the regulations so that even those lower circles that are not regulated should be brought on board and build the capacity of the regulator to make sure that they are able to regulate those circles so that the name of the circle, and if you hear a circle, you know that you are dealing with a reputable organization that will keep your money safe. And we have almost 359 circles that are regulated. I think 169 there are deposit-taking circles, those circles that have FOSAs, front office services. And if you look at the way those circles they're regulated, I think if you look at whatever they have mobilized, the money they have mobilized, they have done like more than 70% of the money that the circles have accumulated. So for me, I think if you look at the developed countries like the United States of America, you won't have so many circles. Circles are few compared to the population. I think they have only 4,000 circles in the US. And the population is 300 million people. We have a circle with almost 12 million members. Others have 2.1 million members. And if you look at that, that gives people comfort to put their money there. So what I'm saying is that we have seen the government is doing a lot in terms of putting more policies. We have the bill that is pending in Parliament just to improve the governance and safety of members' money. Yes.
You talked about matter sensitization. Kenya is a net borrowing population.
Yes.
People, even when they are joining SACCOs, they're like, I'll join, and within 1 year, I'm borrowing some millions, right?
Yes.
How do you balance that idea of borrowing and responsible borrowing, for that matter? Because some people might just be borrowing, you know, to enjoy life. How do you ensure that you're borrowing responsibly?
Yeah, so that is why a SACCO like where I belong, the Kenya National Police Deposit-Taking SACCO, we have taken a deliberate move that we start by engaging the membership, by bringing an expert to take them through financial literacy. Because the most important thing here is that you need to understand how money works. If you have money, what do you do with the money? And after building the capital, where are you supposed to invest? That's where the conversation is. You are right. When people want to join a SACCO, they are looking at the borrowing. That is the first thing they are asking. How many times will I get my loan, and how long will it take to get a loan? So the conversation, we are changing the conversation to make sure that the money you are saving, that is your money. That's your fallback. When you are at your sunset, that is the money you will enjoy, the money you have saved over the years. And you need to invest in where the money you'll get a return on your investment. For example, if you invest in the SACCO, you have been employed or you are doing small business. If you start saving in the SACCO, that money, you can't reach that money easily. So it means the money is secure. You can't hold it. You know, but now, if you have money in your pocket, trust me, when we finish this interview, somebody will call you from home. Your auntie was taking care of you when you are young, has been taken to hospital. They are looking for 2,000. You will send the money. But if you don't have, you have saved, that money is secure there. And you know, in the SACCOs, we also give back to the members in terms of dividend and interest on the deposit and shares. So for example, the police, on deposits, they pay 11%. On the share capital, they pay 17%. Tell me, if you have money you have put on your share capital, for example, 200,000, how much will you be getting per annum? Then on the 11%, how much? And you don't have to work for it. Yours is just to save. And we are saying, it is not a must that you are only deducted on your salary. If you get money you have sold, maybe you are a dairy farmer, you can still sell milk and deposit money on your SACCO account and save. Or if you are doing small business, you have a small business like a M-Pesa shop, you can still invest in the SACCO where there is less risk. And that is how we are doing it, to make sure that we sensitize. And for me, I would like this conversation to change the way the saving culture in this country. I think we should start from early stage. We should introduce this in the education system, that people, the kids in high school, they should start now learning about cooperatives, SACCOs, how important the SACCOs are, because that is the only vehicle that enables the person who is lower down there to join and build the capital over the years, and you become somebody.
Right. I like the point of introducing conversations about money early enough, because for most of us, you grow up, you go to school. Once you get a job, KRA tells you to file your returns. You have no idea how to go about it. So definitely those conversations are important at an early age.
Yes.
When we look at SACCOs, one of the challenges that they have been facing is the uptake of technology. Tell us how the journey is in terms of taking up technology currently for SACCOs.
Yes, when you talk about technology, that is the driver of business. Any SACCO that has not embraced technology, I think it will be hard for it to survive because the world is evolving very fast. So the technology is the most important business driver. If you need the young people to join the circle, you have to make sure that you have a robust technology that they can, because they want things faster, where they can save the money on the phone, save their money on the phone in the circle, and also withdraw using the phone. However, the technology, as we talk about technology, is not an easy, it's not cheap, it's expensive. But as it is expensive, when you embrace it, you get the return that you have invested in technology. Because the business you do, you turn around the business, you grow the business and make sure that, and the convenience, people like convenience. Tell people to fill forms, to join a circle, come for a loan, you not see people coming. But if you embrace the technology, so the problem now we are having is that we have too many circles in Kenya, and some are small, some are big. We call ourselves big, but if you look at the best practice or developed countries, the police circle cannot be called one of the largest circle. It's a small circle. So people have done that amalgamation, the mergers coming together, so that you are able to. So my take on this, because technology, we need to embrace technology. And also technology comes with the risks.
Very much so.
So you must also take care of the cyber security issues as you make sure that the members' money is well guarded. Yes.
And are circles keen on this? Because, of course, as you said, technology itself is an expense. Looking at cybersecurity is another added expense.
Yes.
Are they taking the whole journey of investing in both of them?
I can tell you the circles, especially those with the front office services, most of the circles have embraced technology. Most of them. For example, police circle, everything is digitalized. The members can, wherever they are, they can apply their loan using technology. They don't need to move to any branch, and you apply for a loan for 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, you get it wherever you are without moving a step to going to the branch. Provided there is a cyber, you just scan, it's there, it's received by the staff, they move it within 1 day, you have money on your account. So the circles have embraced technology. Circles did not embrace this technology some years back, but most circles are now on core banking system, like Police Circle, Stima, Mwalimu, Harambe. All those circles are now on core banking system. Yeah.
And for the viewer, what is core banking system?
Yes, I think that's a good question.
Right.
We used to have a system that core banking, first I want to say, is a secure system that takes care of the cyber security more than the other system. It's like having a house, securing your properties, your children in the same house, but windows are open. So with the core banking, I'm just giving for the layman to understand what I'm talking about, is that the core banking now becomes secure, but also in technology, you don't promise that 100% is secure. You say 80%, which is an A, is still good. You can't say we have this, we can't be, a breach will happen because that is technology. We have seen big companies saying about the technology. I heard people saying, though, there's a lot of data, our system went down. So those challenges are there in terms of technology. Yes.
As you said, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yes.
So you have to be prepared.
Yes.
In the financial industry, there is a lot of competition for circles.
Yes.
You're talking the banks, the apps, the digital apps.
The fintech.
Yes, the fintech as
Yes.
well. How are you dealing with that competition?
Yeah, I think on the side of the SACCOs, we are not in competition among ourselves. What we normally do, because of our principles, we are operating within the 7 principles of cooperatives. We collaborate among ourselves. But I agree with you, the competition comes from other commercial banks and fintech. What we should do on our side as a SACCO, we don't look at the competition. We focus what do our members want. We develop products that correlates with the members. What are the members saying? You go and give quality service to the members. In fact, members are just looking for service, quality service. If you provide quality service, they will not leave you. They'll stick with you. Even if somebody comes with the marketing products, they'll still stick with you. Yeah, and that's what the SACCOs we are doing.
And how are you setting yourselves apart?
As a SACCOs?
Yes. Or what is Police SACCO doing to set itself apart, especially in terms of service to its members and making sure that their savings are safe?
Yes. For us, I think first, information. We give information to our members for them to understand where do we want to take them, where are we going. This move we are making, what is the end result? We make them understand whatever we are doing. 2, we always invest in the members in terms of education. We put aside a good budget for education. That involves financial literacy, which is very important. We go to Kenya Police College and other trainings that our members, we throw them. We start from the initial. When you are employed as a police officer, we go to the college, talk to them the whole day. We ask for permission from the Inspector General and the commandant of the college, ask them for permission for the whole day. We camp there, we talk to them as our children. We tell them the importance of starting immediately saving as young as they are. And we tell them where they are. If they do whatever we are doing, they look like this at the end of 10 years, 15 years in service. We bring an expert to train them on financial literacy. And by doing that, we have even given an incentive to our members that if you save certain amount, at the end of the year, we'll take you to a hotel in Mombasa. Stay there for 5 days as you enjoy, and we are also training you. And that has seen improving the culture of saving. Finally, in September, we took 10 of them to Sao Paulo in Brazil, just to go and also see how the developed countries, how they also operate. Because sometimes you can be in Kenya and think cooperatives is for the poor people who live in Kenya. You will find that in the US, we have SACCOs also there. So we want our members to understand. So we went to them in Brazil. They looked at the system in Brazil. They appreciated it. They came back. They started saving. And this is something that I also want to tell the members as they start saving. The terrible mistakes they make when they take loans. One, they don't know why they are taking the loan. That's the first thing. They don't know because they have just come from the college, the money is there, they can just apply a loan and get the money. So they will decide what to do with the money when they have already the money in their pocket, which is a wrong decision. We have seen even people who have worked for years taking a loan of 1 million and going to the village, the shopping center within the village, where all shops are closed, and you see that person constructing a building in the same environment. So where will you get the business if other buildings that are there, that obviously, I think you have seen where you come from. Mm-hmm. There is a shopping center, is almost closed, and the people have buildings. So that is dead assets. People have gone, that's a loss to you if you have saved for years. So we are telling them, the best thing you can do Instead of taking to such a venture, can you put the money in the SACCO? Then the SACCO will be giving you money 10%, 11% per annum. You have no, you don't, it's not about you. The strategic plan is for the institution to work out how you will get the money back. So I'm trying to say, Kenyans, those who are not members of a SACCO, they have to join a SACCO. And I'm not even here to encourage anybody to start a SACCO. That's a bad idea. Okay. Don't start a SACCO. Don't come up with a new SACCO. Join the mainstream SACCOs that are existing so that you can leverage on the investment they have already done. That's technology, other things that are already there. Yes.
Even as we look at attracting people to join SACCOs, we understand that the membership is very diverse. The needs are diverse. So are there any new trends or new products that SACCOs are coming up with to attract especially the younger generation, and also to meet the diverse needs of its members?
That is true. That is, you know, SACCOs used to be, now we are employing qualified staff. Though there are those who are we are employing for research to understand what is the market. Among our membership, we have the youth, we have the middle, we have the old, we have the retired. So we need to come up products that will actually meet their needs. The young ones, we know what they are looking for. So we need first, as I said, technology. Enable them to access money at their convenience. They will give you the money. Second, there are people who cannot buy a radio. You know, when we were employed, when we were young, our first salary, we were buying a radio, we were enjoying, we wanted to buy something that we will show people we are now working. But there are now people who are past that stage. There are people who are now looking for a house. SACCOs, we are giving mortgage for the members. There are those who will apply for a mortgage for 15, 20, 25 years to pay and live well. Those products are there. So we have variety of products, and we keep on coming up with products to fit the needs of our members. Yes.
There are a number of SACCOs or members who you might be a very responsible borrower yourself, but because you've guaranteed someone, you know, and they are not responsible in how they deal with money, things go south, and then your own payslip is affected. How do you think SACCOs should deal with ensuring that members are not exposed to such scenarios?
So as we continue sensitizing the members on how to handle the money when you take a loan, also in a society you won't miss those who will misuse whatever they have. We are looking at options that I am a member. I can also come up with a collateral so that I don't need somebody to guarantee me. You see, that level, we are there, where although I have saved money, that I can guarantee myself, or I have collateral. Instead of looking for guarantor, and I have a problem with the guarantor later, somebody takes a loan of 1.5, and all of a sudden is sacked. And because he has been irresponsible, he has not gone on duty because he has money, he has been drinking, then he is sacked. Now, the pattern now comes back to me for having guaranteed to have to pay back. So, SACCOs, we are coming with also modalities. How do we handle that so that we remove the guarantorship issue? But it will also work well for the young ones who are joining, who will not have collateral, because we want to balance. The SACCOs is for everybody. SACCOs is for the young, for the old, for the women, so it's for everybody. We are inclusive. Yeah.
Right. So what would be your message to people who are in that situation, so to say?
You know, I've been observing. Sometimes I normally just walk around, move around, look at the people enjoying it during the weekend in the pubs. You will find somebody is taking alcohol as if the brewery is going to close tomorrow, and is also buying for people, strangers. that give that those gentlemen or that lady whatever they are taking. So you find somebody has spent 10,000. That is where now, if you had put that money somewhere, that money will have grown into something, into capital, and it will have improved your life. That's when that's why we are doing those financial literacy, because our members, 90% of them are police officers. So we are looking at the end after their retirement, how they are going to live. So we are making sure that they save the money so they don't have money in their pocket that they can spend anyhow wherever they are. Because the money you spend in buying alcohol, buying credit, and you are not saying anything. You just put credit of 100 shillings and you call people to greet them. How are you doing? I'm here. We were yesterday enjoying ourselves in I don't know, in Kiserian or somewhere. So we avoid to give them how to handle them. And we give them good example. If you save this per year, this is the money you'll have at the end of the year. And this is the interest you'll be getting, dividend you'll be getting over the years. Yes.
So as people, especially the young people, they are falling into this peer pressure. I was asking the previous guest that someone goes on Instagram, they are seeing all these celebrities living a good life and they want that as well. So your message to the young people, especially to instead of focusing on the now, focusing on the future, what would be your message to them?
One, with the experience. One, those who are always on TikTok, on Facebook, the people that are watching, those are fake life. They are living fake life. And that's the first thing they should know. That is not the real life. If you see somebody on TikTok and see this person live, those are two different people. You will find somebody struggling. I have somebody I know in the US who puts, one day he posts the picture and people admire because he will go and pose on a fancy vehicle. But when you go to the US, he will not even want to meet you because he's living a life that you won't even admire. So somebody will be impressed and inspired. I want also to go to US, I want to live this. So instead of going to the Instagram and admiring fake people with fake names, because we have seen others want to marry people through the TikTok, and they realize this is not the person I thought I saw on there. So instead of spending on that, because they are not only spending on it, there are others who are spending on the road, just standing on the road, just watching and enjoying how vehicles are passing. If you travel to Nakuru, Kisumu, you will see young people just watching how buses are passing like this. If you can do something that can earn you something per day, you'll make a big difference because there are no jobs. If you wait, somebody will come from Nairobi to call you and say, come and work here. You will not find that job. Can you do something that will generate money? Have 1,000. Let it do something that will generate something. Start join a circle, start getting money from a circle, invest, do business, sell even if it is sugarcane, those simple things. You will earn something and you will grow your business other than waiting. Something that people should also, this business of people, petty. There is no quick money. There is no quick money. People are betting that they want to win 1 million so that I can live good life. I've never seen somebody who has won that living good life. But somebody who has been saving small, I've seen them, they have constructed structures, buildings, they have now transport vehicles, they have lorries, because they know the pain of saving. Yeah.
The pain of saving, I like that.
Yeah.
Now, as we come to a close of the conversation, in a few minutes, just tell us what the future of SACCOs is in Kenya, especially in terms of supporting the economy and building lives.
Yes, so, I wanted also to mention this for the leadership in the SACCOs.
Go ahead.
One, you need also to build, as we tell members to save, organization has also to make sure they save. When you give out the returns to the members, make sure also you retain money that can enable you to operate with your own cash. Like now, Police Sacco, we have done this over the years. We have been given by global credit rating. We have been given A- in terms of borrowing, using our own money, quality of our assets. So that one also I want to tell SACCOs that that is the way we should do. We should not entice people for dividend, high dividend. We should not entice people on that. We should avoid that and make sure we build. The SACCOs, I think the conversation we are having, and I'm happy that I want to thank also His Excellency the President for giving the SACCO a standalone ministry for cooperative, because the future of our economy is in cooperatives. Because if you mobilize Kenyans to save, we'll have too much money, we'll have liquidity within ourselves, we'll operate within our money we have, and we can do a lot. We can, a SACCO that are saved, for example, I don't know whether you know, Police Sacco, we built a SACCO called Police Sacco Stadium. We built a stadium using CSR, cooperative social responsibility. We have built schools. We have built gyms. The money we are just using, if all of us we can do that as SACCOs, then you will see development in this country done by SACCOs all over. So that is the future. The future is that people will trust SACCOs more than any other financial institution. Because, why am I saying this? Because the SACCO, if you join a SACCO, you are the owner. When I joined the SACCO, I joined as a member. Along the way, because we are owners, they have made me to be the chair. So you are the customer, you are the owner, whatever you make within yourself, it comes back to you as returns. So I'm seeing people living whatever they are doing, coming back to SACCOs and build the strong financial institution.
Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
Asante. That is David Mategwa, who is the chairperson at the Kenya National Police Deposit-Taking SACCO, and we've been talking about the role of cooperative movements in building Kenya's economy, ensuring that more people are saving and also borrowing responsibly. Well, that is the end of BizCheck this morning. Kurunzi Mashinani is coming up with Kasichana Masha. My name is Betty Kiptum, and Lensa Odingo is my colleague on the sign language interpretation. Thank you very much for watching, and ensure that you save for your future. Good day.
Tenugui hand towels have long been a feature of daily life in Japan. Made from thin cotton, they come in a standard size of 35 by 90 centimeters. This versatile towel first became popular about 400 years ago. At first, it was simply for wiping away perspiration or protecting the face or hair from dust. But even today, people are still finding new uses for tenugui. They're a great way to wrap box lunches and drink bottles, and even things like tissue boxes. A simple, everyday item that reflects so much of Japanese culture. Modern designers are finding that tenugui are a great medium to express their creativity. Simple to